Sleep can wait. Everything can wait.
Catch all 104 matches from as little as 255 kwacha. Only on DSTV.
There's nothing confidential about the constitution-making process, for God's sake.
Then this diplomat wants to be funny, funding people to say, no, you must make sure that this constitution does not go through.
Until there's some people who removed our meal allowances. So you are removing HH and you want to come in. So after you remove our meal allowances again? Sorry.
This country was gone.
Under the PF?
Under the PF, this country, my man, was gone.
Ask him to come and explain. Is that not insults? Now it becomes an insult because it's poor why me, and that why me must be discarded. No.
From day one, Michael Sata wanted me dead. Not necessarily physically.
He wanted you dead?
I don't want to answer that one for now.
Maybe you become the first female president of this country.
Exactly. That's where it's going.
That's where it's going. A lovely good morning to each and every one of you. Welcome to the midweek edition of Daybreak, which falls on the 10th of June 2026. We're excited that you've been able to join us yet again, acknowledging those of you watching us on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia, and extending greetings to those of you catching us on our YouTube platform. We are live on YouTube as well, and also via Lukuli Radio. In case you want to advertise, look no further than Prime Television Zambia. Once you also have your product on our platform, you get that visibility that you generally need for you to be able to reach the intended audience. And of course, we'll be able to have each and every product that you might be able to offer, or maybe you want to advertise, to have the right platform to advertise, and even the prices. Our prices are very, very affordable. You could be able to reach out to our marketing team. The details will be scrolling on the screen very shortly. In case you want to reach out to our marketing team, who are eager to hear from you, knowing that it is also an election period. There are so many watching from various sides of the coin, so you do well to advertise with us. That way you are definitely going to get that publicity. And just a reminder that, of course, we don't only have our socials, we are not only live on our socials, but even on DSTV channel 273, Go TV, Zuku, Star Times, you name it. You are definitely going to be heard by the masses once you give your contribution, be it your submission, acknowledging those following through within the country and even those beyond the borders as well. So much has happened, especially yesterday. We'll be able to touch and also dissect what was said and what is happening in the land of work and joy. My name is John Mark Lukonde. On set with me, Paul Shingongo. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, John Mark. Good morning to the viewers. Glad and excited as always to be back on the People's Show. Of course, analyzing various matters happening in the country. Yesterday was full of activities, laying down to rest. Chief Mpezeni IV, an event attended by Republican President, and also various dignitaries as well as opposition leaders will be able to speak into some of the things the president did speak about, but also the Chipata Diocese of the Catholic Church, Bishop Lungu as well, did utter a few very important words worth pondering on, and we will be able to dissect some of the things that happened. But also we learned last night that police raided Protea Hotel in Chipata, which was lodging opposition leaders Makebi Zulu, Brian Mundubile and others, and police led by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mr. Hamamba, also did have some confrontation with the opposition leaders. We'll be able to speak into that, plus many other stories this morning.
Indeed, and for those of you who want to join the conversation, drop a comment on our Facebook platform Prime Television Zambia. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share the link, and also let your colleagues know, even on your status, that hey, there is a program that can keep you up to speed and dissect political matters. Sometimes we get to meet people that tell us to say, we love to follow so many current affairs, but sometimes politics might be a little bit complicated. We definitely break it down for you to be able to follow through, even those who might have not necessarily followed politics for a while as well. In case there are other sectors that you want us to touch, feel free to drop a comment on our Facebook platform. We'll be able to also dissect those issues, time allowing. But for now, let's take a look at the weather and the money markets. For the capital, the highs of 26, the lows of 12. Southern Province, highs of 30, the lows of 11. Central has, of course, 27 degrees, and the lows of 12 degrees. Copper Belt, Bakopala, for you it is 28 degrees to 11 degrees. And of course, Eastern Province, yesterday we were saying all roads were leading to the east. It is 27 degrees today and 13 degrees Celsius. Exchange rates for the United States dollar, it is 17 kwacha, 44 ngwe. That's buying at 17 kwacha, 44 ngwe, selling at 17 kwacha, 74 ngwe. And for the Great British Pound, buying at 23 kwacha, 39 ngwe, selling at 23 kwacha, 78 ngwe. For the euro, 20 kwacha, buying at 20 kwacha, selling at, of course, 20 kwacha, but the difference is 54 ngwe. South African rand, 1 kwacha, 6 ngwe buying, and 1 kwacha, 8 ngwe selling.
There's nothing confidential about the constitution-making process, for God's sake.
Then this diplomat wants to be funny, funding people to say no, you must make sure that this constitution does not go through.
Aren't you the some people who removed our meal allowances? So you are removing HH and you want to come in. So after you remove our meal allowances again? Sorry.
This country was gone.
Under the PF?
Under the PF, this country, my man, was gone.
Ask him to come and explain. Is that not insults? Now it becomes an insult because it's poor why me, and that why me must be discarded. No.
From day one, Michael Sata wanted me dead. Not necessarily physically.
He wanted you dead?
I don't want to answer that one for now.
Maybe you become the first female president of this country.
Exactly. That's where it's going.
That's where it's going.
Start your day with Sunrise Breakfast Show. The flagship morning show on Prime TV2. Wake up to breakfast news as it happens.
Not if you're not away.
In-depth discussions on the day's top stories. Live reporter checkings from across the country. Expert analysis on government policies and their impact. The latest in local and international sports. Catch us on Topstar Channel 110 and follow us on Facebook at PTV2 Zambia.
Sunrise Breakfast!
Sunrise Breakfast Show, only on Prime TV2, the home of breaking news.
The Public-Private Dialogue Forum, PPDF, announces the Mid-Year Private Sector Day, scheduled for 11th and 12th June 2026 at Mlangushi International Conference Center, KK Wing in Lusaka. This year's event will be held under the theme Driving Jobs and Shared Prosperity, Private Sector Steering Development and Growth. On 11th June 2026, the Media Private Sector Day will feature a series of panel discussions covering environmental, social and corporate responsibility, fiscal, tax and regulatory policy, SMEs, youth entrepreneurship and local content, labor, job creation and skills development, the circular economy, promoting beef exports and value-added trade opportunities. On 12th June 2026, the program will focus reporting tangible progress made by the private sector in response to government-led reforms, including investment outcomes, job creation, and lessons learned in the last 5 years. The PPDF invites stakeholders to partner with us by sponsoring the Mid-Year PSD. For more information, email ppdf-info@ppdf.gov.zm.
Right, before we dive into the papers, let me just read one or two messages on our Facebook platform, Prime Television Zambia. Jump on our socials and join the conversation. Cholwe Moya says, hi, John, Mark and Paul, watching from Chamba Valley. Good morning, Cholwe. Hoping that the weather is favorable in that area. Robert Tembo says, good morning, John, Mark, Naomi, Paul. Solwezi is also glued to Daybreak. And Joe Nalishebo says, good morning, Naomi, good morning, John, Mark, good morning, Paul. Watching live from Lukulu District, Kambia area. It's good to know that the land of plenty is following through. Real Black Bull says, good morning and greetings to the Daybreak family, to John, Mark, to Paul, to Naomi, and all the DBF. Kasempa is glued. Congratulations to our Copper Queens for winning the tournament. Real Black Bull, thank you so much for acknowledging the ladies. They are indeed excellent as always. We appreciate and hoping that they'll go on to win even the WAFCON. I think in the next 2 months or so, we'll be able to have the WAFCON coming through, and we are excited. We are hoping that the ladies will do the needful and bring back Ichikombe, as it is called. Pumulo says, watching from Namibia. It's good to know that Namibia is following and that we are able to reach the masses far and wide. Chama Victor sending in messages just now saying, good morning, my people. Good morning, Chama. It's good to know that you're doing fine as well. Kelvin Lee says, good morning, Daybreak family, following from Chipata City. Kelvin, how is the mood in Chipata? Let us know, especially after yesterday. Please come back in the comment section. Let us know how things are doing. Gift Wilson says, watching from Silverest Garden. Good morning. Gift, I remember visiting Silverest one particular time. I wondered how you managed to trek all the way to town and then you get back home. My goodness. But we appreciate the fact that you're doing fine. Gift, let us know how the road network is in that area and if the buses are available 24/7. It is a 24-hour business operation that is effective at present as well. Keep the messages coming. Some of them are just coming in thick and fast. We like it that way. We will be able to accommodate your messages as we progress. Robert Tembo, I think I also did read your message, but we'll be able to cover other messages as we progress. We touch other stories as well very shortly. Shiloh Stephen says, good morning, Daybreak family, following from Kolwezi, DRC, Luapula province. And speaking of the DRC, we've been able to also hear about issues of Ebola. We are following closely in terms of the health sector in that regard. Our eyes and our ears are also following through what's happening in Congo, and the numbers are also rising alarmingly. But we will be able to give some feedback, hopefully before the week ends. Solomon Kabiza Jombe says Chirundu is also following. I'll be able to cover other messages, but we appreciate the fact that you are jumping on board quickly. Some of you might even be watching on YouTube. Please let us know. And let us know if it's your first time also joining the conversation. We will be able to accommodate you as well. But for now, we touch what is trending on social media, or perhaps be it in the papers with Paul.
Indeed, let's begin by refreshing your mind, of course, on what happened yesterday. It was National Day of Mourning in honor of the late Paramount Chief Mpezeni, the fourth of the Ngoni-speaking people of Eastern Province, who was put to rest in his Keto Krel at Ependukeni Palace. President Hakainde Hichilema was among the scores of mourners, including opposition leaders, described the late Paramount Chief Mpezeni as a loyal leader who served his people with wisdom and distinction. He carried the authority of a king, but had the heart of a servant. What a way to describe him. He had the authority of a king, but also at the same time carried the heart of a servant. President Hichilema also celebrated the late chief for promoting hard work among his people through farming and agriculture. Also, Paramount Chief Mbelwa of the Ngoni people of Malawi said the Ngoni nation has lost a leader who connected all Ngonis in southern Africa. Paramount Chief Mpezeni, who died on Saturday, the 30th of May, 2026 in Lusaka after an illness, is survived by one wife and one child. One wife, for emphasis, one wife and one child. Our staffer based in the Eastern Province, Christopher Banda, attended the funeral and did file us this report.
Ngwenyama, inkosi yamankosi Paramount Chief Mpezeni, who died last week in Lusaka, has been buried in his cattle kraal at Ipendukeni Palace in Chipata. Among thousands of people that attended his burial was President Hakainde Hichilema, who described the late Paramount Chief as a loyal leader who led his people with wisdom and distinction.
Presidents are not always easy to work with, but he found a way of doing it because of the common interest. Service of the people, the country. I think that's important for us who are alive to emulate. Country first, people's interest first, then our personal interest should be subservient to the interests of the people and our country itself. Humility and service. And when you have carried the authority of a king, but possessed the heart of a servant. Nkosi Yamankosi was a true patriot who placed country, as I said, people and culture above himself. More importantly, he espoused and championed unity in our country.
These and many other reflections that were given for those days certainly have helped us appreciate better the immense legacy he leaves behind for all of us.
Paramount Chief Mbelwa of the Ngoni people of Malawi, who is Mpezeni's brother, said that the Ngoni nation has lost a great leader who united the Ngonis across the southern Africa.
Today, we mourn not only the sovereign, but the father of our people, the keeper of our traditions, and the building bridge between the past and the future. In our sorrow, we also find strength. His life reminds us of the ties that bind our nations, the courage that sustains us, and the duty we share to carry his legacy forward with dignity and purpose. The king was at times a figure of controversy, and at times a powerful voice for those who have no voice.
Our hearts are heavy, for we have lost not only a great king, but a custodian of culture, a pillar of wisdom, and a unifier of his people. The bond between the Zulu and the Ngoni nation is ancient and sacred.
Paramount Chief Mpezeni died at the age of 75 and has left behind a wife and one child. Christopher Basilio Banda, Prime TV News in Chipata, Eastern Province.
That was the end of a 44-year reign of a king who has been at the helm of the Ngonis from the UNIP era, has served all the presidents, seen all the presidents from Kenneth David Buchizia Kaunda to Frederick Titus Jacob Chiluba Nkonde to Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, Rupia Bwezani Banda, Michael Chilufya Sata, Edgar Chagwalungu, and now Againde Sami Hichilema. Apparently all the presidents we've had all have some names in between. All the presidents we've had have some names in between. But I think Chiluba's name, Chiluba's names are the ones that were a bit more. Frederick, Titus, Jacob, Chiluba, Nkonde. All those, for one person. I don't know John Mark Lukonde. Which other name do you have, Pakat? Yapam Toto.
Yapam Toto. That's why people keep asking me, is Mark your middle name?
Otherwise, it looks like if for you to be president of this country, you must have Ishina Yapam Toto. So, you might not actually be the president of this country. But yeah, that marked the end of peaceful reign, influential reign of Mpezeni IV. Great legacy he has left, John Mark. A legacy that will not be easy to erase. Ascended to the throne when he was in his early 30s, but still managed with wisdom to sustain that. That speaks volumes of also his ability to learn from others, because at the age of 31, 32, when he has assumed the throne, you are pretty a young man. Now, the king of the Ngonis, paramount chief, that was an enormous responsibility placed on his head, but managed until his 70s. So, a race well run by Mpezeni IV, a huge task left for whoever would take over from him. We expect quite a lot from paramount chiefs. We expect them to be national voices, just like Mpezeni was. We expect them not to be afraid of power, not to be afraid of those in power, to tell them the truth in their face, like Mpezeni would do. You tell a minister, niwe nye uyu. Munatina, I remember very embarrassing scene when Mike Mposha was Minister of Water Development. He says they had promised to do dams. When he went there, he says, last time munatina futuma bwela na wenye winango. Munavichita vene munakamba pa munabwela. Ni wenye bwereran. You have to ask him to go back.
What does it take for someone to get to that level where you can tell a public office bearer who has got authority, they come to you and you are literally able to tell them to their face? Because others would shy away or would opt to speak behind the cameras.
Well, you also have authority, maybe even greater authority. Yeah, paramount chiefs have authority, greater authority, because their tenure is not limited to a term. It's for life, till their death. They actually have more authority.
But why is it that those who are public office bearers behave sometimes as if they have got more authority than some of the traditional leaders?
It's lack of understanding sometimes. And also because you know that you have been given the responsibility of managing state affairs, state resources, so you know resources are at your disposal at that time when you're holding the office, so you feel like, look, I have more authority, I have more power. But not knowing how. Look at, for example, what happened in Ikelenge, where a serving minister, at that time he was Minister of Health, was chased by a chief, not a paramount chief, no. Just a chief. Just no go. I would want to believe it's one of the reasons Elijah Mchima decided not to recontest the seat in Ikeleng. Because of the rift he had with the traditional leader. They have this authority. Sometimes one of the things in leadership you must never get to is where you are dependent on people for your survival. Because it means you'll be compromised. You are dependent on the government. You are dependent on the people that you are leading for your survival. It means your voice will be silenced. You can't bite the finger that is feeding you. No wonder you must be very independent, like Mpezeni was. Very resourceful. When he tells his subjects to farm, he's not speaking theory, because he's also doing it. When he tells his subjects to invest, he's not speaking theory. He was investing in lodges, and many lodges actually in the would go to the east to say, oh, Nyaba Mpezeni, oh, Nyaba Mpezeni, Nyaba Mpezeni. That is leadership per excellence, where you can also demonstrate your own resourcefulness.
Is it possible for an MP to win maybe the hearts of the electorate in a constituency where they're at rift with a traditional leader like it was with Elijah Mchima?
It's a tough call. I think it's a tough call because you realize that the subjects are also under authority by the chief there.
Though the voting, it's a secret ballot.
Yeah, but you also understand the influence that traditional leaders, carry. No wonder I've always stated that because of the influence they carry, they should not indicate who they are supporting politically, because they're indirectly sharing with their subjects the direction to take. Indirectly sharing that this is the path we should take because of the influence. The influence that Mwata carries, for example, in Wapula, it's enormous. Enormous. The influence that Mukuni carries in the south is enormous. When he says, this is my view, the subject said, ndiye mfumu zatu is. I'm sure there's a reason why he's saying he's endorsing this one, even without proper logic and reasoning. Say because mfumu wakama. That's why traditional leaders must not be partisan because of the influence that they carry. And I think that is one of the lessons to learn from the late Paramount Chief Mpezeni IV. To be able to be neutral, to be able to remind power of their responsibilities, of their shortcomings. But if you are being fed by them, you will defend them. You will speak like a politician, like we've seen other chiefs do. Paramount chiefs, I've never seen a paramount chief endorsing a candidate. It's other chiefs. No wonder the House of Chiefs really needs to be able to guide. But we have observed, their voice has been quite, faint when it comes to guiding chiefs on issues to do with politics and political endorsements.
Why do you think that the House of Chiefs are not necessarily united? Like they don't speak with one particular voice? Remember what happened with the constitutional review when we saw that they were going by each and every district. Princess Kasuni at one particular point, one of the traditional leaders up north literally came out and said, this I don't actually condone this as well. So why do you think that they are not united and they don't speak with one particular voice?
I don't know if they are consulted. I don't know if the House of Chiefs, before they release a statement, they do consult the rest of the members there, because then we'll not be able to see what we see in terms of different thoughts, like that Lapula chief that you referred to during the BO7 consultation. Says, if he know, even said camera nkopeni no twakana, and yet the House of Chiefs is issuing a different statement in support of BO7. So I don't know how they run, because clearly the unity is not seen, or maybe it's not everyone that is a member. I don't know how that also runs. Whether all the chiefs are members there, how do they ascertain membership? Is it by title, just because you're a chief? Then you are, because we have, different, for example, unions. Teachers belong to different unions. So NUPES can say something else, STUs can say something else, and yet some teachers are saying a different thing because maybe they don't subscribe to that union. So how does that work also? Does it mean that because you're a chief, you're automatically a member of the House of Chiefs?
And the fact that we don't have that information also makes me ask the question to say, speaking of the unions that you've mentioned, we have got the teacher unions. We can also talk about the mining unions. We can also talk about even unions spread across other sectors as well. But how often do you also see the House of Chiefs appear on media houses to be able to deliberate on these particular matters? In your time as a journalist, have you ever interviewed the House of Chiefs? It's rare to see them.
Oh, they do appear, but of course maybe I think there are also guidelines, protocols on how often they can be able to speak to the press. Remember, just even when Paramount Chief Mpezeni died, one traditional leader went on the national broadcast and started talking about succession, and Chief Mazimawe quickly guided, no one speaks. No one should speak on issues of succession. It's too early. And that was how the matter died. So it also depends on how the guidance that they are given. I think guidance is very key, because premature conversation had started. Before you even bury Mpezeni, you start talking about not have problems with succession. That is not the time to talk about that. Now that he's interred, that's the next part of the conversation. What follows now? He never had a son. So what follows? Who takes over from him? Is it the daughter? What do their customs say? Can the daughter take over? These are things that now, conversations now that we'll begin to have, looking at who then takes over from Mpezeni the fourth. So our eyes will be on the ground and following through the conversations, and so that you can also be updated in terms of course, it might take a bit of time. It might not be now. It can take 6 months, 7 months, up to a year, as we have been informed. So it's something that, of course, they've also indicated that times have evolved. It might not take that long now to replace Mpezeni. So we'll be able to follow through some of these conversations and be able to let you know. But
and before we move on, I also wanted us to briefly also give kudos to Chief Mpezeni, because many people have been able to highlight the fact that he has made in Nchwala an event, a national event, something that when you look at the calendar, you definitely look forward to that, and people would travel from within the country, from beyond the borders as well. We know that, of course, we have got some of the people from the East, in particular in Malawi, who also come through for that particular traditional ceremony, but it has really become so grand after his tenure.
Yeah, I think that is one of the legacies he leaves behind, where now Nkwala, as they call it, has actually taken over from Kwamboka in terms of size, magnitude, attention in the nation. It used to be Kwamboka. Now we rarely even hear of the Bemba, Kusefia Pangwena. When last did you have yours, Bembas? Really? When last did you hear the Bembas having Kusefia Pangwena? Hey, you said you are from there. When last did you have your own?
You're about to forget.
When last did you have your own? Kusefia Pangwena.
And even just how grand it is, you can't compare with Nchwala. Honestly, you can't.
I'm sure yours, you'll see Chitimukulu with a crocodile. But for Mpezeni, you see him with the latest vehicle on the market.
It's either a Jeep. He's looking so good. My goodness.
Drip he had. Clothes, fashion, he had. But suffice to say, the Nchwala ceremony became a household name. Not only in this country, but in the region. People travel far and above just to come and attend that event, and courtesy to him for leading in that regard. And one of the things, someone was even indicating that he allowed the big boys from town to come and participate, the big companies to come. He made it open. Look, it's not just for the Ngonis. Everyone started feeling to be part and parcel of Nchwala. Very inclusive, type of leadership. He allowed different stakeholders, partners to come on board. Last time I even indicated, look, I think it's now even more commercial than any other. Yeah. That is because he allowed people to be a part and parcel of the culture, because that is also how you learn about the culture. You want other people also to learn about your own culture. So it became a ceremony not only for the Ngoni, but even for other tribes.
And one of the reasons maybe he also perfected that is because he also never shied away to also visit other traditional ceremonies as well. So it was a give and take with him.
Yes, I remember he visited, he did attend yours, Kusefia Pangwena. And of course, people started comparing the attire of Chitimukulu and the visitor. And it truly stood out as if it was his own event.
It's like the visitor who comes on a wedding and overshadows the groom and the bride.
Like you ladies that attend events and you put on a white dress. No, don't put on white dresses when you attend weddings. Leave the white dress to the owner of the event. You put on something else, But of course, that was how inclusive,
Speak to the bridesmaids as well. Some people say that there are some bridesmaids who look better.
Yeah, even attention seeking. I'm a slitty. We'll start focusing on you instead of focusing on the bride and the groom. You want to look better, I'm not saying don't look good, but look, one of the Robert Greene wrote a book for the 8 laws of power. It's a very lethal, book. Sometimes I don't encourage people to read it because of some of the things that are in the book. But please go and read it if you can. Never outshine your master. If you want to enjoy a good relationship, never outshine your master. No matter the master, they are never comfortable being overshadowed. Yeah, so it's a good principle. Sometimes, especially in the workplaces, we have young people that come with a lot of ideas, but they don't know how to manage those ideas. They want to look better than their bosses. Bwana, you will see the exit door earlier.
Very quickly.
So you need to learn that aspect about life. It's called life. That is part of the principles. That you will find if you want to stay long. So when you attend an event, please calm down. It's not yours. When it's yours, yes, go and get that suit from Italy, wear that. But when you're attending an event, bola panshi. Maybe we needed to speak to Mpezeni before he died, that when you are invited by Chiti Mukulu, please turn down on the fashion. But yeah, a fashionista he was, really. The choice of clothes was something that, of course, many have since appreciated. We'll miss him. We'll miss the legacy, of course, but we are happy that his legacy will keep on speaking even beyond his death. That is what we love about sound and good leadership. The things you were doing outlive you.
Listen to what Solomon says. He says, Inyambo Yeta and Ngwenyama are the longest serving chiefs. Inyambo 40 years and Ngwenyama 44.
Do you know how long Mpezeni was on the throne? 44 years. 44 years. What do you mean longest serving? No one is above 44, even the examples they've given. So he was on the throne for 44 years. That is a feat worth celebrating. A feat worth celebrating. So we'll continue remembering the legacy, but also as Daybreak will also continue to give you updates in terms of what is happening in terms of succession. Be able to follow through and let you know as and when developments ensue. Be able to give you that particular information. But something also that came out from the barrio yesterday worth speaking about has to do with the president's speech. The president, as a guest of honor, celebrated the legacy of Mpezeni, and we do love that. He spoke about his hard work, exemplary leadership that he exhibited. And I think that was very good of the president. But, as always, John Mark, the president also went a bit off key in his speech. First of all, he was talking about CDF. And, at the funeral, I was wondering, Mr. President, I think, the speech writers also need to look at the occasion. Huh? Like, there's what we call sense of occasion. Not that what you're saying is bad, but look at the room. Look at the occasion. I've always given an example of John Mark. You like this young lady. She has lost her father. During the burial, you go and kneel down with a ring. Will you marry me? Bwana. There are many other days coming after that. And there were many other days that were there before that day. You are doing the right thing, but at the wrong time. To start talking about CDF, for me, it sounded more like politics at someone's funeral. But that is not even the issue, really. The issue for me was he brought in the issue of, because maybe reacting to Bishop Lungu of the Chipata Diocese of the Catholic Church, who utilized the opportunity to speak into the ECL saga. He says, Mr. President, the Lungu family, and all stakeholders involved, allow ECL to rest. It's been a year that ECL has not died, has not been buried since he died. Allow him to rest. And the president, when he came up, of course, reacted to that comment and spoke into how John Mark, he agrees with Bishop Lungu that ECL needs to be laid to rest so that he can rest in peace. I went further, indicated that the former head of state deserves full military honors, a dignified burial. He must be allowed to be put to rest with dignity. But this is what the president said on this particular matter, on the issue of ECL yesterday when he was making a speech in Chipata. Let's hear a bit of what the president said.
Once death strikes, our next obligation is to bury the dead with dignity, as we're doing here with Nkosi Amankosi Mpezeni 4, Ngwenyama. Our duty is to bury with dignity. Then we'll have given decency to the dead, as per our customs, our culture, or indeed the Christian values. And I want to say that this applies, Bishop Lungu, to our 6th president, who we lost. It is our duty to bury him with the military protocols. He was commander-in-chief of our country. And I agree with you, we must all work together to bury our 6th president with dignity in the military style yesterday. Let us work together to do that. Thank you for mentioning that issue.
Right, so of course the head of state speaking during the funeral proceeding, and he also did state that once death strikes, we must bury the dead with dignity, as we are doing with Nkosi Amankosi. And he went on to say that this applies to the 60th Republican president. He stated that it is our duty to bury him with military protocols. He was the commander-in-chief. We must bury him in military style. And of course, one would be able to wonder if the president would have been able to even go down that route of that conversation without, of course, the clergy mentioning it in his speech.
Yeah, you see, there are certain things you say during a funeral that are okay. There are certain things you do not say at a funeral. Actually, if you even ask pastors, one of the difficult sermons to prepare is one at a burial. Difficult sermons. Because you can't just say anything. You can't just say anything. People are in mourning. They're focusing on one individual who has died. You bring in other issues. You need to be very, very careful what you said during a funeral. Very careful. But the president said something that for me got me concerned. And let me explain. He said in that clip, like you've heard, we must allow ECL to be buried in dignity with full military honors. He was commander-in-chief of the armed forces in this country. Therefore, he deserves to be put to rest in dignity. The word, John Mark, that I really pay attention to, dignity. I have a concern with that word and statement coming from President Hakainde Hichilema for one simple reason. We remember very well the relationship between President Hichilema and Edgar Lungu before Edgar Lungu died. The state did not treat ECL with dignity. The state did not treat ECL with dignity. When someone was alive, you didn't give them the dignity they deserved as former head of state. Complaints after complaints. This is the same ECL. By the way, when he was still enjoying his benefits as former president, before he went back into active politics, you stopped from jogging. We know ECL loved jogging even when he was president of this country. We know. Yet, the state, through the Zambia police, stopped him from jogging. Is that dignity? The state stopped him one time. He went to City Market to interact with the traders when he was still enjoying his benefits as former president. Not yet in active politics. He says he's not allowed. You stopped him from visiting the markets, interacting with the people. Is that dignity? This is the man that, while still enjoying, John Mark, his benefits as former president, entitled by law, wanted to travel out of the country. The state could not permit him to travel. Is that dignity? Look at this picture at the airport. Former president, that is ECL. Former president John Mark. He was in, this is 2023, he was still enjoying benefits as former president. Remember one of the benefits in the former president's benefit act? Medical assistance by the state. He wanted to go to South Africa. At the airport, he was stopped. Is that dignity, John Mark? For me, at one point, police raided his house. As former president, still enjoying benefits, and wanted to remove the gate. I don't know if you remember that incident. We covered it as Prime TV. There was a picture, famous picture, with a crane arriving at his residency, wanting to remove the gate of the former head of state. I think you'll see that picture. Yes, that's a picture there. That's at residence. Trying to remove the gate. Ready. John Mark, is that dignity? You never accorded this man the dignity that he deserved until his death.
But Paul,
let me finish my thought. Then, in his death, you want to insist on giving him the dignity. I, as Paul Shingongo, find it hypocritical of the president. And I'm saying this with every sense of respect. I find it's a departure of the word dignity. What was happening to ECO when he was alive does not signify dignity in any sense. So for you to then come after his death, we must bury him with dignity. When you didn't treat him with dignity when he was alive, John Mark, I find it quite hard to believe that such statement can come from the Republican president.
Remember, you've also mentioned numerous times that when someone dies, sometimes you have to let bygones be bygones for a while. You have a brief ceasefire. You mentioned consistently over the impasse itself to say that when someone dies, you should be able to even come and I remember you passed a certain statement. You said we can be hypocrites for a while in terms of statements. Even if you don't mean that he was a good person, you can be able to mention statements like that because you just want to respect them. Because when someone dies, all of those things, whatever happened, you put it aside until at least that particular individual is buried.
Quite right. Very right, John Mark. But even when he died, and the family insisted that there's a wish here from this man that has died, that don't be around. We would bury him according to the way the state wants, just that don't be around. What does the word dignity mean? In my understanding, he says, look, since now this man has died, let's honor him. Let's respect his wish. I think that is dignity, John Mark. But to then still insist 1 year down the line that full, do you know what it means when he says full military honors? The commander-in-chief of the armed forces must be present. That is what he means. Full military honors means the commander-in-chief must be present. And it was the wish of ECL that President Hichilema must not be present. Is that dignity to insist to attend an event that where you're not wanted?
Is it too late to restore dignity in regards to the burial of the former president?
It's not. Just withdraw. Just honor his wish. But no, till now, till yesterday, the president is still insisting to be around.
So to give him a military funeral with all military honors, isn't that dignity?
When you're not wanted, how is that dignity? How is that dignity, John Mark? You tell me, Paul, it's my private moment, I'm studying. Please don't disturb me. Say, no, Pakafienjise. Am I respecting you? Respecting you, giving you the dignity is respecting your wish. It doesn't take away the dignity because I don't come into the room when you are not wanted. I think dignity means, look, out of dignity, let me step aside. That's my understanding. Out of dignity, let me step aside. We'll grant you an official funeral as former head of state. I'll not be around. That is dignity. Remember, who took the family to court? On a day they are designated to bury ECO in South Africa, Attorney General, top legal advisor of the country, of the Republic, went to court on the day when they had prepared everything to bury ECO. John Mark, on that very day, the grieving widow had to be in court. Tell me, is that dignity? You take a grieving widow, on the day she's supposed to bury her spouse, she goes and sits on the bench in court. Tell me, John Mark, if that is dignity. Tell me. The grieving family, on the day, just imagine, John Mark, God forbid you are burying your loved one. On that day, instead of you going to bury your loved one, you are dragged to court. Tell me whether that is dignity.
I want to go down the aspect of the same dignity you're talking about in regards to what the president meant by military protocols. So if someone is going to be given a funeral of military protocols, they're going to be given a guard of honor. Unified soldiers from a ceremonial guard, they escort the coffin and perform military drills. Flag dropped around the coffin. Military, or rather gun salute. There's going to be a gun salute. There's going to be a bugle call. There's going to be military escort. Presentation of the flag. One can also argue that this can also be dignity.
For your information, full military honor means a 21 gun salute must be given. A 21 gun salute can never be given in the absence of the commander-in-chief. How then do you give? How then do you expect President Hichilema to stay away and remember the wish of ECO that he shouldn't be around? And the president has been insisting. Last time he appeared on a radio station, some radio station, his recent appearance, he still emphasized full military honor. There's what accompanies a full military honor. There's what accompanies it. The vice president can't be there alone and the full military honor is given. And yet the wish of this man was that don't be around. How is that dignity to force your way into an event, John Mark?
Do you think, Paul, with what you're talking about in regards to the president not being present, if at all, hypothetically speaking, the UPND do not make it come August 13th, could we say that if at all the UPND don't make it, it would be easier or faster to bury ECO? Because in that instance, President Hakainde Hichilema might not be there.
I think we buried on the 14th or 15th of August. If that happens, the President Hichilema loses. Within August, ECO will be buried. Because the bone of contention, and everyone keeps forgetting. Everyone keeps forgetting. Initially, the family didn't even object to ECO being buried at Embassy Park, state funeral. They never objected. All they objected was the presence of Hakainde Hichilema. Oh, they objected.
I never thought I would ever ask this question, but could that also be maybe a campaign message that maybe from maybe Brian Munduvire or Makebi to say, for us, what the first thing we'll do, not even in the first 90 days, in the first week, we will bury.
No, but look, every other person that promises to put this matter to rest is doing well. Even if it's UPND that said, look, we have bowed down to the wishes of ECO, who bury him according to the way he wanted. I want to believe that he still win the hearts of the Zambians. I want to believe. Compromise is not a dirty word. People that compromise are not weak. Actually, they're strong. Actually, they're strong. It's strength to compromise. Because a weak person wants things to go his way only. That's weakness. Strength comes from flexibility. That's where strength comes from. No wonder even when you're marrying, you'll be taught, John Mark, that ukuleya, ukwate means sula. It means sula means be flexible. They are simply telling you that ukuleya, things will happen in that marriage that will force you to compromise. But if you are always insisting, my way, you will not be married in a short time. You'll be back to eating eggs and bread for your meals. That's what they mean when they say, ule kwate means sula. You see things, they say, look, I'm not going to comment on this, it's fine. That is iminsula, that's flexibility, that is compromise. Because if you are going to be speaking everything you see wrong, everything you see, you know what your wife will be telling you? That's what they'll be telling you. Meaning, she also expects you to ignore some things.
So some things must be ignored.
Some things, Bwana, in life it's not everything.
So when you ignore some things, that shows a sign of maturity?
Yes. It's not everything you respond to.
But some things must be responded to.
Some things, but not everything. Iminsula, it is important. One time where I used to work, John Mark, I heard of staff that went to report, to the boss. No, pour this, pour that, pour. Then this man calls me, the boss calls me, no, this one was saying this about you. What's your issue? I explained, seriously, that was the issue. But look at what the messages the person was sending. I saw the messages. Very bad messages. Okay? Then, same day, Bwana, I met this person without even indicating that I'm aware of what they said. Iminsula. I still laughed. As a matter of fact, I still took this person for lunch. And they didn't know. Till date, I doubt they know that I know what they were doing. I doubt they know that I'm aware. Iminsula tulandapo. Not iyoso yobwela kuno. Uzama vichalo zakuzilapo. Do you know there are people that say that me I speak my mind. Me I speak my mind. I don't keep things. You know what the Bible has guidance in that regard. A fool speaks all that is in his mind. That's the Bible. A fool speaks all that in his mind. So you that keep saying the Bible has some statement for you. A fool speaks all that is in his mind. Meaning wisdom demands some things. Ignore them.
Do you remember at Hero Stadium when the president was given the instruments of power? One of the first things he was able to tell the cadres to say, let's forgive them. And even the likes of Mr. Molitet, if I'm not mistaken, came out to say if it wasn't just for the president,
yes.
we would have been able to revenge. But it's just that the president had spoken. So from the onset, the president began like that. Remember when ECO died also, one of the first addresses the president also made to the public was to say, let's allow them to mourn. They might be able to say one or two statements, but let's have, in other words, iminsula, like you put it. So he's been able to display that in the past. So why not on this instance?
It's a shocker. I have a question, a general question. Does it mean that it can only be a dignified barrier for ECL if HH is around? In the absence of HH, it's not dignified.
It's not necessarily HH from the UPND's perspective. Yeah. It's about the office of the president.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, let me remove the name. Does it mean that barring ECL without the president of Zambia being present is not dignifying enough? It's only dignifying enough when the president of this country is present. Does that mean that's what a dignified barrier is? I have a question. Does it mean that ECL can only have a dignified barrier when the president of this country is present? If the president of this country is not present, then no matter what happens, it's not a dignified barrier? Is that the meaning, John Mark? Is that what we're insinuating as a country? For us to prolong to 1 year plus, that is the implication.
Maybe because of the aspect of him being the father of the nation. Because, for example, I was at a wedding recently of a friend of mine, and we were told it's starting at 9 hours. And to my great shock, it started around 13 because the parents of the bride had actually come a bit slightly late. But of course, being a friend, being a brother, I had no problem waiting because he's someone who's very, very close to me. I know he might even be able to watch. But the wedding could not go on because the parents who are supposed to preside and even give the blessing in that context were not around. So in his context, or in this context, he's the father of the nation. So maybe that can also...
The father of the nation who is not wanted. A clear wish, whether the wish is there or not, the wish has been communicated by the family. So this father is not wanted by the family. In fact, by the departed. He made it clear that I don't want him anywhere close to my body.
And I'm glad that you've said whether the wish is there or not. Because even in the South African courts, one of the questions that was failed to answer by the lawyer from the family of the Lungu family was that, give us proof.
Yeah.
So if there's no proof, it's also difficult to also ride on that.
No, but so why then insist to be there when there's a wish from the family? That maybe the Zambians have forgotten is a major reason why Issy has not been buried to death. It's a main reason. Because the family didn't want ECL's wish to be ignored. They wanted the wish of their departed to be respected. The question we should all be asking the Republican president, and I've stated here, John Mark, that if I have an opportunity to be in the same audience with the president before ECL is buried, that's the first question I'm going to ask the Republican president. What's so hard with you stepping aside? That's the question I'm going to ask. What is so hard? What's the worst that can happen, Mr. President, if you step aside? Does that remove the dignifying factor of ECL's burial? And I would like the Zambians to really answer this question. Does that reduce the dignity if the president is absent? That's the question I'll ask the Republican president. Because right now it's in his hands. He can just announce, oh, I will not be present. Let's proceed. Attorney General, drop the cases. It's Attorney General that took the cases to court. Drop the cases. I will not be present. And let's see what the family will say. I'm sure they will be happy to bury ECL even tomorrow. That's a component many people don't want to speak about. The presence of the Republican president. It's a bone of contention. What's the worst that can happen if the president decided to stay away? What's the worst? Does that reduce the dignifying factor? That's a question I have for me. And that's a question I will ask President Hakainde Hichilema the next opportunity I have to be in the same audience with him. What's the worst?
Gabriel Samuyina says, Paul, you are talking about a former head of state and not just any ordinary person. So you want the president to be quiet on this matter?
No, I don't expect him to be quiet. He's the subject of this conversation. He's the one that is not wanted by the Lungu family. So he's the one to even respond to whether he's okay not being there. And by the way, he never responds to that component of the conversation. He never mentions it. He never mentions it. He just talks about full military honors. We will ask our leaders questions that will be uncomfortable. I think that's our job. That's our job. If you have a problem with our job, give us another job. Maybe we will become nurses. So we stop asking questions, just start administering medicine.
Panado.
Panado. Mumve na chan mutu. Okay. Hello, letako Panado. But our job is to ask questions, and some questions are uncomfortable. Like that journalist that was asking Donald Trump. She was asking Donald Trump key questions. Donald Trump was furious. He had to leave the interview. But the lady was simply doing her job. Simply doing her job. Asking questions. That is what we are trained for. Holding leaders accountable. And the question we are asking is not in any way demeaning the Republican president. No. But simply asking a very fundamental question that has led to ECL not being buried 1 year down the line. His presence at the burial. Is absence will reduce the dignity of the burial? Is that the meaning? What's the worst? Viewers, help us. What's the worst really that can happen? I've stated, motivational speakers will tell you, when you want to embark on a project and you're afraid, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I launch out? What's the worst? Okay, there's this lady you want, John Mark. You are scared. What's the worst? Maybe the worst is she will just refuse your proposal. Is that something you can be afraid of? No. Okay, she refuses. It's okay. I appreciate. I'll move to the next person. Ask yourself, when you're afraid, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I jump over this bridge? Ocean. So, in this context, what's the worst that can happen if the president decides to stay away from the burial? Does it reduce the dignity, the dignifying factor about this funeral? That's the question for me I have. What's the worst? What's the worst if we reduce it to an official funeral? Because others say, look, a state funeral, head of state must be present. What if it is an official funeral? Do you know that the funeral we had from Mpezeni is not a state funeral? John Mark? That was an official funeral. It was an official funeral. So, what's the worst? Allowing Isiel to be buried in the same manner Mpezeni was buried. What's the worst? Just remove the presence of the president. What's the worst? To give him a 14-gun salute, 7-gun salute. What's the worst? These are questions I would like the Zambians to begin to ask, including the faithful, loyal UPND members. Let's ask the party president of the UPND. Mr. President, what's the worst that can happen if you stayed away? Do you know that if you announce that you're staying away from this funeral, just your presence alone is not there? Do you know that tomorrow we can bury Isiel? Do you know that? If it wasn't for the state interfering, dragging the family to court, by now Isiel was going to be buried. They were ready to bury him. But no, the state said no. We will force. You don't force dignity. You don't force dignity. And in fact, there's no honor when dignity is forced. It's like telling someone, John Mark, Nidemekezi, Kazini Tanat, Waposhi Ngongo. There's no honor in there. Because you're doing it out of compulsion. I'm sure you've heard Abakurubambi. You don't force respect. That's exactly what is happening here. I hope we can see it in this lens, or in different lenses, not only in one single lens. Otherwise, this is quite unfortunate, really. Presley Kanyambi says, Paul, has the president ever said that he will be present or not? Up to now, a year over, you don't know what has caused the issue not be buried over a year? You mean you're not aware the main reason? But Presley, are you telling me you're not aware what has caused the delay to bury Isiel? This is shocking. This is shocking. So, for me, and by the way, let me emphasize, these are my views as Paul Shingongo. Someone is asking, Joseph Mteto is asking, what you're saying, is it the opinion of the institution or it's my opinion as an analyst? You can also share your opinion. John Mark can also share his opinion. So you also, but Joseph, what do you think also? Share your opinion. It's a free word, right? Share your opinion as well on that. But for me, the main reason, John Mark, I was concerned with that statement from the president is that you're talking about forcing dignity on the burial of Isiel when Isiel never enjoyed dignity when he was alive, post his presidency. You stopped him from jogging. Is it a crime to jog? John Mark, is it a crime to jog? Is it a crime?
Honestly, even just that aspect. Is it a crime, John Mark, to go and interact with traders in the market? if you want to go and buy candolo in the market, it's a crime. It was a crime for ECO.
I remember when that issue ensued that he was stopped to jog. Of course, a number of people complained that they're infringing upon his rights. But I remember some of the sympathizers of the UPND stated that, first and foremost, he indeed was the former head of state. So being a former head of state, if anything was going to happen to him, be it security as well, we would have a state funeral eventually. And people at that particular time were saying, remember what happened with, was it Arabi or Mwanawasa, whose body was taken round, and some of the things could be avoided because that was a security risk to the head of state as well. So people are questioning that aspect.
Yeah, but he had security. He told you he's not complaining. That's what I'm saying. Do you force someone? No, you wait. We'll have my pants. But I have security. No. It's not enough. But I have security. Arabi used to go and watch football as former president. Several times. He'd go to the stadium without a problem. He would go to watch football. He was a lover of soccer. He would go and watch football with Dixon Jerry. Gary Dixon Jerry. They would go and watch football several times. No problem. ECO tries to jog. It's a problem. Is that dignity, John? ECO tries to go to the market. It was a problem. Why didn't we say the same about Arabi? You can't go and watch. In fact, stadium, there are many people. You know what happens even in stadiums? When they lose, especially if it's in Ghana and Power Dynamos playing, you know, Stones and Shan. And yet, there was no issue. Jogging 05, Bamkanyomond. Going to seek medical attention, it was a problem. Then when he's died now, dignity. We need to weigh the two. Even in family levels, sir, they would laugh at you if they knew that, look, walimpatiro muntu, or maybe this cousin of yours, John Mark, tamale umfuana. Tamale umfuana. Ale rombe mpia ole mtana. Nomba inshita kushika nombe nobody forefront. They will even wonder, Ninshi. So, really for me, we need to have these candid conversations as a country. Candid conversation. But do you know that a funeral with full military honors can be held without the presence of the sitting president? Please let the president speak into that matter. Who told you a 21-gun salute can be done, or Augustine, without the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? Tell me any event where you've seen a 21-gun salute without the president being there. Tell me. Any 21-gun salute without the presence of the president, commander-in-chief. Tell me any. Tell me any about Augustine. Any event. Remind me of any event in the last 10 years that has happened. The army does a 21-gun salute without the presence of the president. Tell me one. I would like to be corrected. Tell me one, John Mark. Remind me of any. Remind me of any. So Augustine is misleading the country. But we'll continue following through. The Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, of course, is expected to render judgment. They reserved ruling, and anytime soon, they're expected to render judgment in that case, and will be focused to see what happens in terms of the judgment from South Africa. Mukumbwa Ruben Lufunda says, no dignity when he was living. Why dignity that is no more? Just stay away. So these are some of the things really that we need to be able to speak to happening in the country. But also something interesting happened last night, John Mark. Issues to do with the opposition. Last night at Protea Hotel, we did see Brian Mundwile, Makebi Zulu being raided at Protea Hotel. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information, Tawokan, has given some context in terms of what was happening, because the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mr. Amamba, was not speaking in terms of what was happening. He was being asked a question by Makebi. What is wrong? Why are you here? And he was not answering. You know what the response he was giving? Is there a problem? But you've come in the night. You've come in the night. You've disturbed us. Then you are saying, is there a problem? There's a problem.
Reminded me of those visitors who come at night without even asking or letting you know that they're coming.
Yeah. There's a problem, Buana. Yeah? So really, these are some of the things, John Mark, that... but let's look at a few clips here that happened last night, but also play them back to back. PS Tabo Kawana has indicated that the police were looking for some individuals that were in the camp of Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu who committed crimes, aggravated robbery. And according to Tabo Kawana, on his official page, he has shared a video of a house that has broken windows, furniture stolen. And according to Tabo Kawana, some of the people that were involved in that robbery were in the presence of Makebi and Brian Mundubile. And it is those people that the police were looking for. Among them is Dr. Cosmo Mumba, among others. But let's look at these clips back to back.
Remember, the one was coming.
Yes.
Is there a problem?
What?
Is there a problem?
Which problem?
So there's no problem.
Do we give you a problem?
You have picked up Cosmo Mumba. You have picked up 2 other people.
Of course, let's also look at the clip shared by Tabo Kawana on our official Facebook page that does talk about, of course, the robbery that occurred, according to Tabo Kawana, in Lusaka.
This is the current situation panganda pa James Village Tikafi. Ngande ina batoba ba PF na batobe nganda yonse. Takudi chere ko maundo yonsai. Fionse fina batoba. Na batoba fionse. Nomba katuishi. Ofoto alaika. Yonse ngande na batoba. So katuishi ofoto alaika la. Fionse na batoba pena basenda. Fionse tapadi cheremo. Fionse mina ni mu fridge na basenda. Tapadi cherepo fionse fie na beba fionse. Na basenda fionse na batoba yonsa ama window fyenga muremona. Monene amabwe. Monene fridge tika kuno kunganda kumwa icho wandi. Na batoba James Story. Fionse na batoba fionse na bafumye FP munganda muno fionse.
Of course, that is the development that is coming in from, of course, PS Tabo Kawana. Let me read through a statement, of course, in that regard. He has since defended Chipata police operation involving Brian Mundubile and Makebi, says suspects cannot hide behind politics. Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Tabo Kawana has defended the presence of police officers at a hotel in Chipata Eastern Province, where Tonse Alliance presidential candidate and his running mate, Brian Mundubile, along with lawyer Makebi Zulu, were staying. Mr. Kawana says the police operation was aimed at apprehending individuals wanted in connection with an alleged aggravated robbery case in Lusaka, who were reported to have traveled to Chipata. In a statement posted on his official Facebook page, monitored by Prime TV, Mr. Kawana said the fact that the suspects were in the company of political leaders or formed part of the security detail of some politicians does not exempt them from facing the law. He stressed that arresting the suspects in the presence of political leaders should not be interpreted as an attempt to harass, intimidate, or force the leaders out of Chipata, nor does it amount to barring them from returning to the area. Mr. Kawana further stated that the matter has nothing to do with Tonse Alliance presidential candidate or his running mate, but concerns individuals wanted by police in Lusaka. He maintained that the operation was conducted within the confines of the law and insisted that no amount of propaganda would alter the facts surrounding the matter. That
is a statement from Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Media, Tabo Kawana. These are some of the issues happening there. Maybe a question that begs for answers. Why not give them call-outs? If they are suspects, there's a standard, basic protocol that is followed when someone is wanted by the law enforcement agencies. You don't follow them in the night and disturb the rest of the people they are with. Give them police call-outs. Then, if they fail to come through, that's my basic understanding. If they fail to come through, then you now follow them by force. So I would like to hear also a statement from the Zambia police in that regard. What exactly happened? We've heard from the PS, but also let's hear from the Zambia police what exactly happened. Why did the Deputy Inspector General of Police not also explain to the team, led by Brian Mundubile? And also, if it was the PF, like in the video stated, the two Patriotic Front presidents are in the UPND camp. Robert Chabinga and Mao Sampa. So why not follow those? Why follow the other camp of Tonse when the two PF presidents are with you in the camp? Raises more questions, really, than answers. But we'd like to hear from you. After this short break, we'll be able to open the phone lines and, of course, let you know some of the leading stories in the tabloids this morning. But for now, we'll go on a short break. Afterwards, we'll open the phone lines and hear from you.
There's nothing confidential about the constitution-making process, for God's sake.
Then this diplomat wants to be funny, funding people to say, no, you must make sure that this constitution does not go through.
Until there's some people who removed our meal allowances. So you're removing HH and you want to come in. So after you remove our meal allowances again? Sorry.
This country was gone.
Under the PF?
Under the PF, this country, my man, was gone.
Ask him to come and explain. Is that not insults? Now it becomes an insult because it's poor, why me? And that why me must be discarded. No.
From day one, Michael Sata wanted me dead. Not necessarily physically.
He wanted you dead?
I don't want to answer that one for now.
Maybe you become the first female president of this country.
Exactly. That's where it's going.
That's where it's going.
Start your day with Sunrise Breakfast Show. The flagship morning show on Prime TV2. Wake up to breakfast news as it happens.
Not if you're not imwe.
In-depth discussions on the day's top stories. Live reporter checkings from across the country. Expert analysis on government policies and their impact. The latest in local and international sports. Catch us on Topstar Channel 110 and follow us on Facebook at PTV2 Zambia.
Sunrise Breakfast.
Sunrise Breakfast Show only on Prime TV2, the home of breaking news.
Let you know some of the leading stories in the tablet this morning before we get your calls. We'll be getting your calls shortly to hear from you on the various matters under discussion this morning. Remember that we value your opinion and your thoughts on the matters happening in the country. So please get set to give us those phone calls. In the news, Diggers leading story, police chase Mundwile. We do have a caller, John.
Let me just go ahead. I'm not getting anything from you.
Chibukombe, go ahead. We can get you.
Oh, thank you. I can now hear you. Paul says the former president, the next president, was not inside before his death. I don't think Mr. Longo faced what Dr. Kaunda, Mr. Chiruba, and certain other Mr. Zikilupia faced the same under successive leaders. Mr. Lungu was respected by Mr. Hakainde. If Mr. Hakainde was at a very bad heart, he could have revenged, thinking of how he himself was treated. Mongo, Sesheke, prison, whatever is in the air, attempted suicide, whatever, guns. So, we cannot compare what Mr. Hakainde did to Mr. Lungu. Mr. Hakainde says, I will never arrest my sister. If he wanted, he could have simply done what Mr. Pata did, remove the immunity through Mingalato and arrest Mr. Lungu. And if there were cases that the wife or family had, that's not Yokumuki Ushawi. Secondly, I don't think if Mr. Alongo was a private person, this could have been there. We have all lost our loved one, even Mr. Chingondo himself, and left him. Because those are quite issues. They have not have been in any leadership in the limelight. Mr. Alongo's case is different. I think what should be there, let the country introduce a law that once somebody is arraigned as a president, is in the hands of the country. The family has no say. Let the country take over. Maybe that can solve. But in this case, what the family now seems to be difficult in my view. So
as you conclude, Chibukombe.
Please, I've concluded that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling through. And we'll be able to get other phone calls coming through. We have a call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm a pastor telling from Solwezi.
Your contribution?
Mr. Chingo was saying Mr. Lungu or the former president by his tourist to still not get married. I find it difficult to believe with you. That was your opinion for sure, and it's also my opinion. But even when at home you have somebody that is unruly going outside the boundaries, we tell them, please, my child, because of your mouth, because of your actions, I don't think you to do certain things. If Mr. Lungu was going to our former president, was going to the market, without any issues, without saying something that will injure somebody, he will not be received. But look at when he's at the market. Look at when he was going jogging. Sometimes the way you do it maybe out of proportion, maybe exaggerating, and then trying.
Thank you so much for calling. Let's accommodate others also. Please ensure that you go straight to the point once you call in. Keep your call within a minute. Keep your call within a minute. The number to call remains on the screen. Our third caller, good morning. This is Daybreak. You're through to the People Show. Good morning. Zero 776409840, and you'll be through to the People Show Daybreak. We are live on YouTube as well.
Good morning, thank you.
Yes, good morning.
Bright.
Go ahead, Bright.
Okay. My contribution is, I can go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. My contribution is the coin has got two sides. There is one which is side A and also side B. So the issue of the former Republican president, I think let's leave it in the hands of the court to make a decision. I thank you.
Straight to the point, you might just be one of the most brief callers Daybreak history. 0776409840. Please let us know your name and where you're calling us from. Keep your call within a minute, 30 seconds. Surely not as brief as the previous caller. Good morning. You are through to the midweek edition of Daybreak.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. This is Sam calling from Kito.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, issue y'abalungu baranda ati usendere omuchere omufokufina. The family knows what they went through. Ilio balungu bale bachitame straight. Baya batobera panganda, baya bafunya mundeke, then babakanya okuya muku kwata medical treatment. So they have every right to decide of whatever. Thank you.
Mkwaya Pashiri Pakuleka, thank you so much for reaching out. The number to call remains on the screen, 0776409840. This is Daybreak. You're through to the Wednesday edition, which falls on the 10th of June, 2026. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Your contribution, sir.
Prime TV.
It is.
I'm asking for just a small favor. I'd like to have Mr. Post's number. I don't know if it's possible.
All right, just hold on. I'm sure that directors are taking note of your number upstairs. So just let us know where you're calling us from first and foremost.
I'm Wemba Divide calling you from Choma.
Let him shout his number.
You can go ahead with your number. Go ahead with your number.
My number is 0774 798918.
Come again?
0774 797818.
Thank you so much. He'll be able to reach out hopefully immediately just after daybreak. We appreciate that call. 0776409840. Phone calls are coming in thick and fast. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. You're through to Daybreak.
Hello.
This is Daybreak. Good morning.
Is this Oxygen? Prime time?
It's Daybreak. It's Daybreak, sir.
Okay. My name is Moses Mwanga, calling from Kitwe.
Yes, sir.
Can I go ahead?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. So, my contribution is simple. Number one, if the state did not intervene by going to court, the former president would have been buried in South Africa, and that would be wrong simply because he was voted by millions of Zambians. It would have not been right to just bury him outside. Number two, what happened to our late president is different to what should happen to him after death. The fact that he was mistreated before, we cannot use that to deny him a state funeral. So those are two different arguments. Yeah, so basically, I think we should separate all those things. And thirdly, this whole thing about the burial, it is just politics. But the truth be told, we all know where the former president should be buried. It should not be in a foreign soil. I thank you.
We appreciate that call. Thank you so much for calling through. Let's see if we can take 3 more calls and then we'll be able to read some of your messages on Facebook. Then we shall call it a day. If it's your first time calling through, kindly let us know so that we can also welcome you to the extended DBF family. We have got people following through from within the nation, others following through beyond the borders as well, others just by the tip of the borders, be it Chirundu, be it Kasumbalesa, you name it. We are spoiled for choice in terms of audience. Kindly reduce the volume on your television set before you can even dial the number that is on the screen. Reduce the volume on your television set. That way we can hear you loud and clear from our end.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Kamanga, I'm calling you from Solwezi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think this is my first time to call you.
Lovely. We are glad that you've called. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. I just wanted to comment on the issue of the late president. In African tradition, funerals must bring us together. Those things that have happened before, I think we should forget about them. Now we bury the deceased, then we take some lessons from there going forward. Because for sure, if the head of state was to be buried in a foreign nation, what picture is Zambia going to have going forward? That was going to be so bad. So to me, yes, there could have been maybe some treatment here and there, but could not amount to someone being buried in a different nation. So I think that is my take.
We appreciate your call, sir. Thank you so much for calling through. 077-640-9840. We take 2 more calls and then we'll be able to respond, give our final thoughts before we can close the curtain on the midweek edition of Daybreak. Sometimes we get calls and we are told that we don't give you ample time to call through. We're giving you time to call in so that you could be able to have your say on each and every issue that we've been able to present. Feel free to also talk about other matters that might have also caught your attention. There's so much happening in the land of work and joy, and we'll be able to shed more light on anything that you can also extend the conversation to. We have a call on the line. Kindly begin with your name. Good morning.
Yes, this is calling from Lusaka.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. My issue is looking at the way things are, this period being a campaign period, I think it would be good if you have, I know I've been following you, I don't know for how long now, I've been an attentive listener, but the way Paul at times comes out, you might end up blocking a lot of people if they comment, say Paul is with this side, or looking at the way he comments. So I would also ask if at all you have different analyzers. Not every day one person is only talking on one side. You see? People may perceive, say, he's running with this guy. Because I'll give you a good example. If you look at Garen Kombo issue, the way he came out before Garen Kombo went independent, he said Garen Kombo has overstayed as an MP because it was UPND. The time he left UPND, now Garen Kombo has become a darling to Paul. So I think we should be having different people on that platform. And the time that you consume Paul alone is more than everyone listening. You see, you only give us 5 minutes to be calling, and yet him has the whole day. I think we should change on that one. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if he has the whole day.
I wish I had.
But yeah, thank you so much for calling nonetheless. 07764098840. Please reduce the volume on the television set and we'll be able to get to hear from you. Remember, there are even other issues we have not touched with that we could spend the whole day talking about. For example, the Millers Association of Zambia has linked the recent drop in milling meal prices to better supply of maize.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Lisonzo calling from Southern Province, Kazungula.
Your contribution, sir?
My contribution is sometimes let us not just look on the other side. The fact is that Mr. Edgar Lungu was mistreated while he was still alive. And we should not just be supporting things when they are long. Someone will stand on the podium tomorrow, the other day, saying we have united this country more than ever. See what is happening to Makepe Zulu. Is that uniting the country? So my comment on this one is that let the family bury Edgar Lungu the way they wish to, because he was mistreated. We are witnesses to this. They can stay in power for 40 years, but we know we are lighting all these records. Thank you. Good morning once again.
Thank you, and good morning to you as well. Let's see if we can take one more caller so that we can at least make it 20 minutes for the people to have their say. 07764098840. Our last caller. Thank you for giving us the privilege of your attention. Go ahead with your contribution. Good morning.
Good. Are you able to hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I'm calling from Kitwe. My contribution is very simple. Our current president, if I recall well, he never recognized the former president Iseo. Even when Iseo was no more at the office, the same thing continued under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. So we don't understand why now Iseo has become so important. Please, let the family bury Iseo in the manner they wanted to bury him. In the manner they want to bury him. Let the government stay away. Let the president stay away. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. This is what we are the only one. I think the whole world is seeing something that has never happened before. Like having the former head of state lying the outside for a year now. So the issue is very simple. We need to stop this hypocrisy. Hypocrisy of today preaching at the podium. You are preaching something that you don't even do. Then you want people to see you as a good person, as a good president, when you are treating others like fascists. Look at what is happening even last night in Chipata. That's what the way we expected from my church. This country belongs to all of us. This country belongs to Zambians. He's not the only Zambian. He's not the only president, and he's not even the last president of this country. So let the family bury Iseo. That's all. He never recognized Iseo as a president. He never recognized it. So why now? Thank you so much.
We hold the phone lines on that note. Thank you so much for calling through. We appreciate your contributions, your questions as well. And believe it or not, we enjoy opening up the phone lines, and given a chance would allow you to speak the whole day. And we only take 5 minutes, as one of the callers insinuated. But we respond to your calls, and I'll be able to read your messages. Network is doing me a number, but at least from the onset, I read a number of your Facebook messages. We'll be able to do the needful very soon. But Paul can respond and give his final thoughts.
Indeed, quite a number of good feedback from the people. We do appreciate that particular feedback. Of course, remember that we also want your analysis on the conversation. That is the reason we open the phone lines. That's the reason why you can also inbox us on YouTube, inbox us on Facebook, so that we do get your views as well. In case Paul's views, John Mark's views, Naomi's views are not what you want, you can also add your views as well. You will not, unfortunately, force me to say things you want me to say. I'll say things as I see them per time. Yeah, based on available information. So sometimes, and in most cases anyway, you find that the majority do not agree with my thoughts, and it's okay. It's okay. fact, it's a problem with everyone agrees with my thoughts. It's a problem. You know, we should celebrate divergent views. In case you feel, you know, have a different opinion over a matter, share with us also. We'll read it, no matter how long it can be. You know, type it, because for a phone call, it can only give you 1 minute, 30 seconds. But look, for text, type the essay you want. We'll summarize it and read it so that we also get your thoughts. But unfortunately, you will not push me to say something that you want me to say because it pleases or suits your narrative. We'll say things as we deem them fit per time. Whether it's an issue of a balance, if in your view it's not balanced, that's your view. That's your view. We'll not say things just so that it balances in your perspective. You know, but we do appreciate your views in that regard. And also, very important is that we should also be able to speak to issues as they are. No one has answered my question. I asked a question. Will the funeral lose the dignity if President Hichilema is not present? Unfortunately, no one has answered that question. You see, because they want a certain view to just come out. But that's a very important question. For your information, that's the main reason why we haven't buried ECL. To date, 1 year plus. Why are you also afraid to answer the question? They are afraid to answer the question for obvious reasons. They don't want to be seen to speak against, you know, their camp. And we shouldn't be like that as a people. So I think that is one of the things for me that I'd like to respond to. It reminds me of this journalist. Tomorrow we'll be able to share with you this clip. I've spoken about it the whole week because she impressed me. Her name is Christine Walker from the ABC, who interviewed Donald Trump last week. And John Mark, she asked Donald Trump tough questions that got him emotional. For me, I love that type of journalism. We're able to speak into tough things. Because I think soft conversations, we can take them to PR, right? Yeah. But tough conversations, tough questions should be embraced. Donald Trump could not answer a question to the point that he called her corrupt, called the journalist corrupt, for asking a question that he was unable to answer. Called her corrupt, removed the lapel and walked out. For me, that is brave. And she had to travel all the way just to interview him. So look, I traveled all the way to interview you, so sit here. But he was afraid. He was unable to respond to the questions. The Donald Trump that I know as courageous and tough, he met a tougher one. Tough journalist. And it's my hope that one day, you know, the next crop of journalists coming after us, John Mark, will be bold enough to question authority without being afraid. Because that is your job. Question the authority. Question them. Let them answer. Let them answer. I repeat, I will ask this question to the Republican president the next time I have an audience with him. For as long as he was not buried at that time. What is the worst that will happen if you stay away from the funeral? Does it reduce the dignity of the burial? That's a question I'd like the people to answer. That's a question I'll ask the Republican. What's the worst? Because if you announce today, you will not be present. Tomorrow, ECL can be buried. That's the bone of contention. All of us are not asking. 1 year has passed. A taboo has happened. Strange thing has happened. First time in the history of the earth. We have made history for wrong reasons. First time in the history of the earth that a former president dies. Immediate past president dies. 1 year down the line, the matter is in court and the man is unburied. First time. No country bears such record. That should concern us. It's not something to really be proud of. Bordering on these same conversations, whose wish should we follow? Bordering on the same conversations we are afraid to talk about as a country. So, for me, I think these are some of the things really that we should be talking about as a people. I'd like to close with this story. Time does not allow us to get into the story that the video that Namangolwa Mushokabanji, one of our reporters, filed in. But DNA test results have revealed that a 41-year-old Zambia Air Force ZAF flight sergeant accused of sexually abusing his 14-year-old biological daughter is not the father of the child she gave birth to. This is after forensic analyst Innocent Makasa presented the DNA findings to Lusaka Magistrate Kawama Mwamfuri. The accused was charged with incest after his 14-year-old daughter was discovered to be 6 months pregnant and told medical personnel that her father had unlawful carnal knowledge with her whilst in a drunken state. Magistrate Mwamfuri has convicted the Lusaka man for indecent assault, for inserting his fingers in his 7-year-old daughter's private parts while taking care of her at the university. This is a different story. This is a story, John Mark, where that ZAF personnel was accused of, one, sleeping with his child and making her pregnant. She got pregnant. Baby is born. DNA done. So he's not the father. So who slept with her? You see why issues of rape cases must be dealt with sensitivity. In the absence of a DNA test, everyone was going to believe he's the father. So meaning someone else slept with her.
Imagine finding out in such a circumstance. What a shocking revelation.
Shocking revelation. That's why suspects of rape really must be protected. Because this is family. Family. Your own daughter. The wife took him to court. Said, this is even the child that it's you. DNA says, no, it's not me. It's not the one. So meaning there's someone else that fathered that child.
Is it that the wife forgot? And then you realize when you're in court,
yeah. So there are many men out there in prison serving jail terms when they're innocent. Many men out there, especially sexual matters. Especially sexual matters. So when the man says, no, I'm not the one responsible, sometimes let's believe these men. Let's have a benefit of doubt until DNA is done. It made me think, John Mark, how many men out there are fathering children that don't belong to them? Made me think that maybe men should start doing DNA tests on all their children. I'm sure. Even the same child, maybe should do a DNA test on the same child. Maybe they're not work. If they can accuse him that he's the father of the child's child, maybe even the same child is not his. There are many men out there who are innocent, being accused. Many. So meaning someone else slept with this young girl and fathered. That person is innocent somewhere, living his life. Another guy is the one going to court, detained. Someone else who fathered the child. This young girl must be questioned. Who is the father? And apologize to the father for wrongly accusing him of fathering the child. I think we need to ask men, not out of mistrust, it can cause a few poor, but honestly, I want to believe out of this case, there are many men out there who are keeping children in these homes that don't belong to them. This case has revealed quite a lot, John Mark.
This is the part where I genuinely miss Naomi. I know which side of the story she would have taken. I know that when she comes back, maybe we'll be able to ask her. But we end on that particular note. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for calling through that individual who called for the very first time. We appreciate. And those of you sending your messages on Facebook, on YouTube, in Bemba, we say Pashiri Pakuleka. Good morning.